guys, welcome to Katie's Insight, where I give my insight on all kinds of things, but today I'm just gonna have a conversation with everybody. Hold on. Ew, nose and allergies. I've been seeing it in the comments. I know you guys are going through the same thing. When the weather changes, y'all know my stuff, you know my history, but I thought I would just kind of come on and have a little conversation with everybody if that is okay. I've been meaning to do this for a couple days. I had a video. If you guys remember that I set my hair on fire video, you can go check it out if you see it. I was frustrated because I couldn't get it up for like 3 days because YouTube demonetized it. I'm like, you demonetized a video about my hair being set on fire. I love this stuff. Okay, so what are we gonna talk about? What are we gonna talk about today? I have some updates for you guys on a couple things, and I'm just gonna go ahead and talk about a couple things that I'm feeling. I'm having some feelings. I'm feeling some certain ways. And I figured, I think a lot of us are going through this. So I thought, you know what? I'm just going to kind of talk and just, you know, kind of ask you guys and like, let me know in the comments if you're going through some of the same things I'm going through or you're going through your stuff. I don't ever mean to make videos to be whiny or complainy because like, is complainy a word? Remember Trump would use bigly. I am the most blessed person in the world to have the most wonderful, caring, kind audience. And even though things fell through with the last channel, and that's really, really frustrating that I'm still trying to rebuild, I feel like, who am I to ever complain when I have just the most wonderful people? You guys check up on me, you make sure I'm okay. And so I just don't want to come across ungrateful, you know, because I'm so blessed. Like at anything else, the fact that I can do this channel around my health and I can make just enough to get by right now is such a blessing, and it's more than what a lot of people have, and I'm grateful to every single one of you, and I mean that. Even if we disagree, even if you don't like me, I'm grateful. Thank you for helping me stay afloat right now. I appreciate it. I'm gonna go ahead and talk a little bit about some things that are just kind of on my mind today. You know, as you guys know, I've been following, sorry, ew, I'm so sorry for all the noises. It's allergy season. You guys know, and I already have my own stuff, so I should probably get a tissue or something, but I don't want y'all to have to see me snotting and snorting, but I already am. I was fine until I started talking, and then the vibration in my face was like, okay, let the water out of the holes. And here it all comes. And guys, if you don't mind, I'm gonna ask a favor. I try not to ask favors, but with this video, because this is a bit of a different off-topic video, make sure and like this video. Make sure and give it a big thumbs up, subscribe if you haven't. If you haven't yet too, hit notifications, leave comments, share the content. It all really helps me grow the channel. And also giving away $100 gift cards. I'll announce winners on Monday. So make sure to be entered, same thing. Like the video, subscribe, hit notifications, comment, share the content. The more times you share and the more comments you leave, the more chances you have to be entered. So make sure and do that. And guys, I also want to give you a side note. I have started a new channel on YouTube. Well, it's not new. I've resurrected an old channel on YouTube. If you want to see more content from me that's going to be a bit edgier, maybe more controversial, that's not about politics or stimulus, where I'm talking about world issues or chronic health, or maybe, you know, even some stuff that's happening on YouTube, some really interesting stuff, then I want you to go to my channel. It's called Joy Sparkle BS. I think I'm going to change it where it's just going to be Joy or Joy Sparkle, but you'll see my face if you look it up. Go up there, subscribe, and hit notifications. Warning, the content is different and it's going to be a bit edgier, but it's an old channel I used to have. I'm going to give more information at the end of this about that specific channel, but I wasn't sure if I wanted to really do anything with it, and I think that I do, so you can see just kind of different kinds of content from me there. So, okay, let's go on with the video. Okay, I'm frustrated about a few things. I think in general, 2020 has been a really challenging year. Let's put it that way. It's been an interesting, challenging, and very, very difficult year for almost everybody. So I know what I'm going through is nothing short of what you guys are going through. You guys are probably going through 10 times worse because I'm lucky enough to have this audience, and I'm just so grateful. It's you know, lately it's been frustrating. It's been really frustrating. I think something that I'm realizing is, as you guys know, every day for the last, since March. I know I came on the channel in May, but I've been studying stimulus and all this since March. And then in early May, I started doing the videos and getting the information to you guys. I've been doing stimulus and diving into that every single day. And it can be mentally fatiguing, especially when I was trying to do SBA loan and grant stuff, because it was all very new for me. So I had to make sure I knew what I was talking about and I was on point. It's very confusing for even people who understand what's going on, no less trying to keep up with all the BS the SBA was doing, as well as stimulus talks. You know, like this is a new area for me. I mean, I can enjoy politics to an extent and I can follow it and understand it, but I've never dove into it the way I have. And it can be very mentally fatiguing and exhausting, but I'm okay with it. I think I know what it is. This is what's happening. Over the last couple weeks, I've been diving into the election. You guys know my content's been more tailored to the election, which I'll go into in a minute, and the, you know, what's happening with politics. And honestly, I think it's starting to affect my mental health. I'm okay, you know, don't worry. It's not like I'm in danger, like there's nothing like that, but I am noticing I'm getting more frustrated and more sad, and I think a lot of you guys are too, and I wanted to kind of talk about that. And I was like, well, I've been following the stimulus, so why is stimulus not upsetting me, but this is? And I think I know I've kind of been processing that information. With the stimulus, we know at some point we're going to get some help, you know, albeit probably meager and might not be much, but we're going to get something. And for me to follow that news and to try to give you guys updates and show you guys where there might be hidden money you can access, I feel like I'm giving back to you guys. And so for me, it feels like it's uplifting to try to give you the information to help you prepare for your lives, or give you information to help you get more money. And that for me feels fulfilling and uplifting. The election for me right now, it's just kind of an area of frustration and sadness. And I know it's hard because I know some people are going to only hear what they want to hear with this, and that's fine. I am not sad because my candidate didn't win. I didn't have a candidate in this race. I still don't. What I do is I present you guys the facts and information as I see it and as I am weighing it. I know a lot of people think I'm a closet Republican or I'm a closet Trump supporter, and that's because many times when I'm reporting, unfortunately, for people who don't like Trump, the facts will side with Trump, even if he says something where he sounds abrasive or rude or this or that. Not every time. Not every time. And yes, I know he exaggerates to the point of lying. I'm very well aware of his flaws. So it's not like I'm not. I'm talking about the big issues. And where I see people lying is the Democrats. The Republicans are honestly evil and the Democrats lie, lie, lie. I'm talking about the people at the top, not you fine people watching that lean one way or another. I'm talking about like Nancy Pelosi, how we've caught her in so many lies, how we've been catching her in the agenda she's been doing. And it's been interesting because in following stimulus, it's helped me see what's going on in the election, because I've been following all this different legislation that's been passed and going around that I probably wouldn't have. So it's been a lot easier to see the kind of the playbook on what they're doing. And I think I'm getting really sad lately. And there's a couple reasons. I'll kind of go into that. Number one, I think that, you know, I think I'm processing the emotions from what happened with the old company. I've been so hard into work mode and go, 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 and you know, the legal stuff and all of that going on. I haven't really taken the time to just mourn this situation. Does that make sense? You know how like you'll go through something, but you can't really allow yourself to like go through the emotions because life is happening and you have to just go at it. And I think I'm taking time to finally do that. You know, the second thing that I'll go into, and I know I've talked about a little bit about this, is that I really underestimated the toll that building that channel and the legal stuff and the stress around it took on my health. I will say good news, I'm getting better, which is great, but that means the channel is suffering quite a bit because some days I'm not putting up content. You know, guys, I like to do at least 3 good videos a day. I haven't been doing as many stimulus videos, and it's because they are mentally taxing. I'm going to get back into it, just so you know. Monday's slate, we're going to still cover politics, but there's going to be a lot more stimulus. And the good news is there will be more stimulus news coming out. I mean, I can always find stimulus news and things to talk about and give you. I'm not somebody who ever has a problem finding content. It's, can I do it? And I've been extremely weak. Physically weak, like, you know, mentally weak. And it's because, you know, 4 or 5 videos a day for like 4 months nonstop, and then this big lawsuit process and losing everything I built and losing all the money I made. It's difficult. It's a difficult situation. And then to come back to this channel and my health is just shot and I can't build it the way I need to. And so right now I'm blessed that I'm just making enough to get by on this channel. That's not a complaint. I'm blessed. It's just hard going from that to what I was making, because what I was making before was life changing and oh my gosh, have I made it? And now I'm just barely struggling to get by. And I know that I'm not alone in this. I know you guys are going through really similar stuff. How many of you have lost your businesses? How many, if it was super profitable or you worked so hard to get your business going well and everything bottomed out this year? So I'm in it with you guys. You're watching it firsthand. I'm in it and I sympathize and I know it's hard and I send you guys love and I'm here for you. And I want to talk a little bit about the election. I think why I'm so sad about this is that, like I said, with stimulus, I feel like I'm giving you guys something. I'm giving back. With the election right now, as it stands, I feel like I'm just watching the last threads of democracy we have in our country die. And it is not because I so badly want my president to win. It's not about that, guys. It really isn't. It's watching the behaviors of people, I think. Watching, the people at the top, we know they're shady on both sides. We know they're manipulative. We know they're not good people. That doesn't surprise me. And I'm not surprised by the reactions I'm seeing from people. I'm sad by it. Does that make sense? I'm not surprised. I'm not shocked. But I'm sad. And I feel like I'm mourning watching what's happening to the country. Does that make sense? And let me explain what I mean. Remove Trump from it. Screw Trump. I don't care about Trump. Remove Trump from all of this right now. We have a situation where more and more evidence and information is coming out of mass voter fraud, of mass mail fraud on big levels that probably would shift the election. And so many people don't care and they're defending it. And that makes me sad. Because I would be sad if Trump won and there was fraud there and the Trump supporters didn't want to look at it. I would be just as sad. It's funny, I had some people, and I forget your name, but you left some awesome comments I loved reading, and he was just like, democracy's been dead for decades. And in many ways, I think that's true. We live in kind of a theocracy. What we're living in is we're living in a situation where we're given the illusion of choice with our elected officials. And South Park has covered this, and the running joke is, when it comes to a candidate, you can pick between, a blank bag and a turd sandwich. And neither candidate is good. And I feel like that's a lot of what we keep being presented with. We're presented with this illusion of choice. I think why people liked Trump is because he was a wild card that doesn't have to play by anybody's rules because he's successful and powerful in his own right. And somebody like that is just the kind of person you need to go up and stand up against the big, awful elites on both sides. That type of personality is not going to be perfect, not going to be great at everything, and not going to be the best communicator. But with that being said, I don't really care so much about the Trump in the situation. It's watching so many people be willingly lied to and manipulated, and they happily go along with it. And I think that's what's hard for me. I feel like, now look, I know there are a lot of people who aren't, I hate being like this, awake or woke. I hate seeing those things, but I know a lot of people still, there are a good chunk of people who are still under the illusion that, our governments are good in some areas. But I feel like over the last 10 years, social media has really shown us the errors in that, Oh shoot, let me turn off my phone. Okay, hold on one second. I'm sorry, guys. It's gonna be a little bit of a mess video. The same people who scream that everything is the R word in the government, these are the same ones that are just shouting from the rooftops that Biden won, a man who blatantly told them, if you don't vote for me, you're not black. A man who put them in prison, like in mass amounts that Trump is trying to undo. It honestly makes me sad. I feel like I'm watching a bunch of people cheer on the prisoners that keep them in prison. They complain about being inmates and cheer on the guards. And I don't understand it. I don't know. It's really, it is. It's like, honestly, you guys know I'm hyper and peppy, but you can probably see it. It's making me sad. And again, it's not, remove Trump. It doesn't matter about Trump. I'm just sad because I feel like I'm watching people willingly being allowed to be exploited and used as a result of their race. And all that does is put him in a worse place. I feel like all this does is put minorities in an even worse place because, in my opinion, the Democrats don't care about minority issues. They use that to try to get the minority vote, all while doing things like Biden's 1994 crime bill and screwing them over in the process and, mass incarcerating them over BS. And I'm the first one to say I think the prison system is outdated. It does not work. It does not rehabilitate people, and I believe it is just a way to use minorities as, slave work again. Very, very cheap slave work. The fact that they didn't want to give minorities stimulus checks, or not minorities, but prisoners at all, I was disgusted by. And granted, I understand some people are like, yeah, well, if you've murdered somebody or you've hurt children, you shouldn't get anything. I can understand the logic, but still, people are people and we should be fair. Do you know what I'm saying? It just makes me sad. And, I've been, while covering this stuff, as much as I try to be middle of the road, people keep thinking I'm for Trump only because I'm showing you guys where I see the facts and the information. And I've probably lost a couple hundred subscribers this week. It's gone back and forth, and that's okay. That happens. But, I love this audience too, because so many of you understand me. We can disagree. And y'all aren't just going to jump ship or call me names, but since the election, I've seen more and more name calling and, oh, you finally outed yourself as a closet Republican. And I've seen more and more of that in the comments. People I've had really friendly interactions with that I feel friendly towards. I'm very careful to say the word friend on social media. I've learned this when you're in my position because you can say that and then people can act a certain way and people blame not. It gets weird. So I say friendly. But, we've been very friendly, and it makes me sad that we are in this place where people can't disagree respectfully, It makes me sad that people keep, no matter what I say, there are a lot of people that are going to keep seeing the situation as black or white, as this or that. And what they don't realize is they're just two colors on the opposite ends of the spectrum, but at the end of the day, they're all colors. That's what the Democrats and the Republicans are. At the end of the day, it's all crap. It makes me sad. And I think that's something I'm coming to terms with. And this is stuff that's bothered me over the years. It has. It's always bothered me. There's something different about this election, though. I mean, is it just me? It just feels like there's something different about this one where there's an extra layer of sadness. And I think what it is that I've never seen a president or a candidate been gone after so hard as what's happened with Trump. And 95% of it's lies. Lies, exaggerations, twisting what he says, but willingly taking him out of context. And I've seen the media just beat and beat and beat him to where you don't even know what's actually real to criticize with him. And you've seen him turn this country around. If you don't like him, you don't like what he's said, I get it. But his policies have been working in many areas. And I'm not saying that because I'm super gung-ho Trump. I'm saying it because it's the truth. It's fact. He's been also doing things to help minorities. He's been trying to help minorities get out of prison for minor offenses, which is the opposite of what Biden and Kamala have done. And yet, I just see so many people, minorities, screaming how happy they are that their jailers, Kamala and Biden, are now in office. Kamala and Biden, if you guys remember, and I've shown you the videos when they were debating on who was going to take the spot to go up against Trump, Kamala went after him for his crime bills, and Biden defended him. Biden even said as of recently, he said, we need the government to come into minority homes because minorities don't know how to raise their children. Minority mothers, apparently you're just dumb. Y'all. And yet, the same people are cheering it on. And what I'm looking at is, and this is what I'm trying to understand. I'd love to hear your guys' perspective on this. Sound off in the comments. What I'm trying to understand is it innocent ignorance to the system? Or are people happily going along with being imprisoned in themselves and within their government? Because so many of the people I'm seeing this happen from are so woke to the issues minorities face that need to be fixed. We need to get things equal and fair in this country, and they aren't. Minorities have gotten the crap end of the stick, especially nobody ever talks about the Native Americans. Screw the natives, I guess. That's the left for some reason doesn't deem that as a popular subject. Let's let those women and children go missing, 25% of them. It's scary. And I'm just trying to understand at this point. I think 10 years ago, 20 years ago, 30 years ago, it was more that people didn't have the knowledge. It was not more common knowledge about how corrupt everything is. But I feel like social media is this double-edged sword where they've manipulated and gaslighted us over the last 10 years on our behaviors towards one another and how we process information and lying to us. But at the same time, it also brought to light so many social injustices that I don't think otherwise would have really had a voice. And that's why we've had so much social justiceism. That's not a word. Malfeasances. Dwight from the office. Sorry, I'm kind of like spinning around. My feet are cold, so I'm putting on my shoes. You can't see it. These actually aren't my shoes. They're my boyfriend's shoes. But I kind of overtook them because they're just easy to put on. Well, when I was sick and I was like almost 300 pounds, it was hard to like bend over or bend down. So I just would slip on sandals. Not really my style, but I'm not really caring to be stylish because it's my feet under a desk. But I think it's getting really heavy covering this stuff to see people's reactions and to see so many people cheering on the people that are imprisoning them, you know? That's what's sad. It's also sad to watch people cheer on voter fraud. And I understand there are people who don't want to believe it. They don't want to believe what they're seeing and what's happening. And look, I get it. I'm not knocking you for that. And I understand, like I've heard this a lot of people say, you know, if it was the other way around, then, you know, you would say, you know, voter fraud and whatever, get over it. He won fair and square, but he didn't. And I'm even seeing people defend, well, I don't care if it was rigged, good. I'm sad watching so many people be brainwashed to narratives that aren't real and that aren't true. They're being brainwashed to these narratives that the Democrats are always on the side of the people. And it's the opposite. It's the opposite. The Republicans are outwardly evil, but you get what you get. And at least when they're honest about it, you can work around it to an extent. The Democrats are always playing games and you never know where you stand with them. They're snakes. The ones at the top. I'm talking about the top people. And so to watch everybody defend the fact that an election was rigged, or then here's the other one. You have people who don't care. I don't care if it was rigged. My candidate won. So you would rather have the comfort in believing in a fairy tale that the government spins for you that doesn't exist, rather than actually preserving the freedoms that this country was supposed to be built on. Yeah, it's not perfect. We have a lot of issues and we're not fair to minorities. I fully agree with that. I'm talking about the idea of what this country is. People are okay with the idea of throwing the idea of this country, what this country was supposed to be founded on and what we work towards. They're okay with throwing that all in the trash because I think it's more comforting and it's easier to believe a narrative that people who have more power than privilege than you feed you. It's easier. It's easier than looking deeply, than doing the work, than doing the research, than going through and really seeing the reality of what's going on and how lied to we are. And I think it's a form of laziness to some degree. I think it's a form of apathy. I also think, and this is an interesting take maybe, it's also a form of depression. I think many of us walk around, especially as adults. You guys know, when you're young, you're fed fairy tales of how great everything is. When you get older and you're like, oh, this is crap. Especially in the year of 2020. It's hard, right? It's really hard for a lot of people. Like I've said, my generation and the generations that are younger, it's a little bit different because it's been hard since we got out of college. It's been hard and nobody even believed us. We were gaslit to believe it didn't even exist, the hardships that were happening. But for many people, 2020 is the first time things are really hitting you, you know? And it's hard. And I'm not saying that to knock anybody. I'm saying this is a hard situation for everybody, right? I lost track of what I was saying. I'm sorry. Yeah, it's just I've been realizing I'm getting more and more sad. I'm losing subscribers here and there. Not a ton, but you know, I'm losing people. People are being mean in the comments. And it happens. It's the internet. It's going to happen. But I'm just sad. This is what I was saying. So like, I feel like as adults, we kind of, you know, there's a certain level of sadness and depression that kind of sets in, you know, from losses we've had or things that have happened that, you know, it takes time to process and that sort of thing. And I think the majority of us on some level realize all this crap with the government is BS. Even if, you know, I think we realize it on some level, everybody. And I think on some level, it kind of creates a mini depression. And, you know, obviously you deal with it however you deal with it, right? For me, I get bubbly and happy and goofy and hyper and I make jokes about everything. And that's how I deal with the negative stuff. And you do your best not to let it affect you, right? I think many people get apathetic and kind of mentally lazy and they allow themselves to be spoon-fed government fairy tales because the reality is a lot of us are just kind of sad and depressed about how things are and how limited we feel to change it. And it's so much easier to believe in a fairy tale than look at the reality of how difficult it all is and how hard it is to change things for the better in the way that it's being presented to us. And I'm not going to stop covering politics. I'm not going to stop because I think this is important and I want to speak out about it. Honestly, I can make a lot more money covering stimulus, and I will cover stimulus. I'm going to start getting back into that, but I think this is important. It's important to not let democracy die. It's important to make sure the integrity of the elections stay intact, no matter who you vote for. And I'm sad, but I'm hopeful that humanity in this country, in North America, that we will come to that point at some point where we once again stand up for democracy, no matter what fairy tale you decide to believe from what side, because we are being given fairy tales. This is what this is. And I just kind of wanted to express that and ask, is anybody else feeling this way? Is anybody else going through this? Because I wasn't expecting that it would feel so hard and heavy to cover politics because stimulus has become political. But again, it's different and everybody needs help. We're all on the same page with we need help now, right? Like in the beginning, there were a few people who'd go, get a job, you'd see that. And that's almost all disappeared because of how desperate things are getting, you know? Politics is still an area that's very divided where we fight to keep our fairy tales alive. We fight to keep them alive, and it just, it makes me sad. But here's the thing. Here's the good news. There is always a silver lining, in my opinion, and there was always a breakthrough right around the corner. And sometimes we have to go through darkness, and we have to go through crap, and we have to go through all kinds of stuff to get to that breakthrough. And what happens when we get to the breakthrough, we end up getting strength that we didn't have before. We see perspectives, we get wisdom, we get answers, we get gifts, we get miracles that happen. In my opinion, this is how I operate. This is how I, navigate the world. And this is kind of how I look at things on a spiritual level. And I'm not here to jam down anything down anybody's throat. I have no religion that I claim to. I do my own personal things. I'm kind of a hodgepodge of several things I've taken from different religions or spiritualities that work for me. But I feel like this is what I see time and time again, and this is where I think it's always important to have faith. I'm not talking necessarily about religious faith, unless my definition fits into you, but faith is knowing that everything will work out the way it needs to, for the best for everybody, even if you can't see it, or at that moment, or it's not the outcome you want, or the outcome you think you should have. That there's always something positive down the road, even if we can't see it. And I always adhere to that. And I think the election is going to end up being a game changer for humanity and for the United States. It's funny, the United States is always like a litmus test for the rest of humanity. I think that's why part of the reason we're so revered by so many cultures. That and because of the freedoms and the democracy we have that are dying right now, because people are willfully allowing it to die, unfortunately, is how it looks. But when it comes to this country and when it comes to where we're at, I think we are weeks away from some blessings. Because and this is my prediction, my election prediction. I think that no matter what side of the aisle you're on, what this situation does is it exposes corruption. No matter if you want to accept it, no matter if you want to see it, it's going to expose the corruption on both sides for Democrats and Republicans. It's going to be exposing things that need to come to light, that need to be talked about. Why was it that almost no news stations, nobody covered Trump and Rudy Giuliani's reaction to Biden winning the election? And all these people coming forward who are lawyers and people saying, I was not allowed to be in the vote process. I am somebody who worked for the mail and saw what's going on. This is going to make that come to light. Now, how people choose to deal with it, whether or not they want to accept it, whether or not they want to continue to defend the fairy tales and the people creating the fairy tales, or continue to jump on those fairy tales, that's up to them. But I think it's important that the truth come to light and darkness come to light, no matter what. And I would be saying this if Biden had lost and there was corruption. Because guys, I was that person for the left. A lot of you who are younger aren't going to remember this. Some of you old heads like me will, but in 2000, the 2000 election between Gore and Bush, Gore won. There was shady, fraudulent stuff going on. He was going to do the same thing that Trump is starting to go through with the lawyers and stuff. And then he just went ahead and conceded and Bush won. And I was devastated because I was like, democracy is dying. So I have been that person, guys. And I think this is going to let a lot of things come to light. And that's the good thing. I think 2020 shone a light on where our country needs help and where our country is failing. And that's a good thing, because we have all been just on before the election, most people are kind of on the edge. Everybody's just struggling to survive and get by, and now we can't. And it's making these things full force. The fact that we don't have enough emphasis on a healthcare system that actually helps and fixes people. And I'm not even blaming a lot of the doctors and nurses. I mean, some doctors, they have this, I'm a doctor ego, and they act like buttholes. But a lot of the younger ones, or my generation, they are in hundreds of thousands of debt and not making the money they thought they would being a doctor. And they see the BS going on. They're just as upset. I've had so many conversations with doctors where we talk shop about this stuff with, the health issues they've had. So I don't necessarily blame them, because they just haven't been trained well. They've not been given the proper tools or information to really go out there and fix people. They're given the information, unless you're a specialist, that's a bit different. But most doctors are given the information on how to be drug pushers, because health is for profit. And this year put that into light. And I'm really glad that it did, because we've lost too many people to a bad, broken healthcare system. And in the United States, we tend to defend it, because we don't want universal health care, and I don't understand why. Now, this is coming from somebody who's lived in countries with universal health care. It's not perfect, but it's better than going bankrupt when you're sick. It's better than losing everything when you get sick. It's better than dying because you've lost everything and you can't get fixed. I've stayed extended periods. I've stayed for months in Canada, and I've lived in France, night and day. And I know the arguments about it, and I agree. The United States is so huge that it would be really difficult to implement. We'd probably have to do it on a county or a state level in some way. Like, we would have to figure that out, but it could be done. And we've had this brainwashed belief that if you're sick in this country, if you're chronically ill, if you're disabled, then you're just lazy, because you should want to work yourself into the grave. Having a hard work ethic is great. Y'all know me. I'm a hard worker. I love a hard work ethic. But at the same time, let's be realistic in that. It's that same work ethic is killing a lot of us, and we don't have the healthcare system to fix us. And that's another thing that I think is that 2020, out of the awful things that came out, has been brought to light. So guys, hold tight. There's more coming. No matter what side you're on or who you want to win, this is going to get crazier. Believe me, I'm saying this is a prediction. And it's not because, I don't want to accept that my candidate didn't win. I don't like Biden. I don't like any of them. I don't like any of them. Trump is not the best man for the job, guys. But I think to a lot of people, he looks less corrupt than all the others. That's how it looks. You see what I'm saying? So, another thing that's really bothering me. It's really bothering me because I keep seeing people and they're like, yay, Trump's gone, get the R word out, long live Biden. But you're not black if you don't vote for Biden. And minority mothers, they just don't have the tools to know how to take care of their children. The hypocrisy. And they just defend it. They just defend it left, right, and center. You know? We're defending our fairy tales. And I think, though, that bubble is going to burst for a lot of people. And when that happens, it's not that I want people to be upset and to break down. It's not that. It's that maybe we can all come to a better point and place of understanding with one another. And when we do that, we can then start to actually build this country and fix things. And that's what I want to see. Because we're being brainwashed with the fairy tales to fight against one another. When we fight against one another, we can't actually come together and make the changes that are needed. And that's how we stay controlled and in prison. So, a couple other things I want to go over, guys. So, I have had to really take a back seat to content right now. A couple things. A lot of my election videos YouTube keeps taking away the monetization for it. Not all of them, and I've never had this issue because you all know I have the cleanest content. I am so careful how I speak. We are working on getting this fixed, but that's another thing has been like, why pump out the content if I just, I'm spinning my wheels? But then the other thing, as you guys know, is that I'm really, this stuff has really taken a toll on my health, and I'm kind of being forced right now to really calm down. I will be able to do more content and get it back up, but I'm kind of having to give myself a break. So I might be doing more of these just kind of conversational videos. The election videos I'm going to do, they are easier for me to put out. They don't do as successfully right now, but I also don't have anything in the system built up for it, and I'd like to build an algorithm for that. And I will be doing more stimulus, but I just wanted to let you guys know, this month, things may be a bit consistent. And I may have 3 or 4 days where I upload 3 times a day, and then you don't see me for a few days. I'm being forced to have to take care of my, I feel like 2020 is really taking all the weaknesses we have and just shoving them in our faces. And one of my weaknesses is I lack faith in survival mode instincts. Does that make sense? So like, because I am so used to being mostishly on my own, I'm so lucky to have a boyfriend, a situation where I'm helped and taken care of, because I wouldn't be alive without that person. But when I have a bad day, there's no family to call, and friends. I love my friends. I don't have a ton. When you are chronically ill, it's almost impossible to keep friendships. It really is. So I lost a lot of friendships, and the ones I do have, I'm grateful for. But you know how it is when you get to our age. I'm 36. I keep forgetting. I'm like, wait, am I 38? I'm not 40 yet. Where am I? Where am I on the age spectrum? You guys had to remind me one time, because I was like, here's my birthday. How old am I? And you guys are like 36. So I'm pretty sure I'm 36. When you get this old, friendships aren't the same, because people have, their lives are busy, jobs, families, responsibilities. And it's hard because in my situation, I don't have, this is my job right now, and I don't have I don't have my own family, and I probably won't. And that's the health issues. It would be dangerous for me to do that. And that's fine. I'm okay with it. I was never that girl that wanted to grow up and get married and have a big wedding. It's never been my thing. No disrespect. If that's your thing, wonderful, because we need good mothers. We need good mothers, and we need good people in this country and around the world. So no disrespect. We just operate differently. But yeah, the health thing it's been difficult. So I'm making content that doesn't get monetized, that I can't put up, and I'm killing myself further. So I'm forcing myself to take a lot more time for my health. And I'll tell you, I really neglected my health since May in certain areas. Like, I'm supposed to go outside in the morning, no matter how cold it is, and stand outside, like, in a basically bikini, stripped down, and do sunlight therapy. And it helps regulate histamine. It does all these things. And since May, I've really neglected that. So those are some things I've had to start doing again. And it's cold, so it sucks. I take freezing cold showers. I mean, when it's winter, it's even worse, because them pipes is cold. So, there are just certain things I'm going to have to start really focusing on right now for me. And something else I wanted to bring up, I'm going to be announcing gift card winners, just so you guys know, Monday, but I may have to scale back on the gift cards simply because with taking the time for my health, I'm barely making enough to just pay my bills and get by right now. And that's just what it is. And I'm not trying to complain, and I'm not trying to be disrespectful, and I'm not trying to compare my situation, because I am blessed to be in the situation I am. But as a result, I don't know that I can spare the extra money to do that right now. So I am going to continue to do it. So make sure, like the videos, leave the comments, do all of that. And I will announce winners Monday, but just be prepared. I might have a video come out where I say, hey guys, I'm going to stop doing this for a while. It depends on how YouTube goes. It depends on how my health goes, but I wanted to kind of just do an update video to let you guys know where I'm at, some changes on this channel, where things are kind of headed, where things are going. So you know all of that, and you are aware. So something else I mentioned in the beginning I want to go over, and I'm going to just kind of touch on this briefly. I know I told you guys, and I've really gone back and forth with whether or not I should put this out there and really talk about it. And I'm not going to talk too much in detail right now, but I was on YouTube before NAA, and before this I was on YouTube, and I had a successful channel that I walked away from because it got very toxic. I was very sick. I was a different person. And I covered different topics. I covered topics about people who might not be nice to women and children, please and fur. And I got very popular doing that, but I walked away because it got very toxic. People got very scary. And that's why when I came back to YouTube, I said, that's not a side of the internet I want to ever be on. I did do an update to that audience. That audience actually is bigger than this audience right now. Because they saw me at 270 pounds, they watched me gain all this weight and be really sick, and it was really scary. And so I did a video detailing what's happened over the last year and a half. You know, I disappeared, what happened, what I've been up to, and before and after pictures of my weight loss. So I get a really warm reception, and I really enjoyed doing that. And I think I'm going to upload more on that channel from time to time. And it's going to be different content. I wanted to let you guys know. So if you want to see that, you can go there. So the channel is called Joy Sparkle BS. I think I'm just going to change it to just Joy. So if you see this, yeah, it'll just be Joy, and you'll see my face. The older videos, you're going to see big me. You're going to see a me that's more frustrated and more angry, just a heads up. And it's more controversial content. But I've been thinking I might resurrect that channel a little bit just to do videos that I wouldn't do on here. Maybe things that are, I hate gossipy stuff necessarily, but things I want to talk about. I'd love to even cover chronic health and illness types of things. You know, just stuff where I can kind of more freely talk. And that would be what that channel is for. So if you guys want to follow me there and see other stuff, then make sure and go do that. And I'll have links in the description, links up here, like I said earlier. So it's not, you know, I'm still focused on this channel and building this channel. It's kind of a secondary thing. It's just going to be kind of a more fun, on the side thing that I do. But you guys can also see me there if you want to see more stuff from me. So, okay guys, I did 40 minutes of rambling. I think I'm going to go ahead and let this come to a close. I send you guys so much love. I love you so much. Thank you from the top, bottom, and the whole of my heart to all of you. You have helped me be able to at least sustain my life right now. And I cannot tell you how grateful I am. I'm so, so grateful to all of you. Thank you so much. I'm sending you so much love and appreciation, and be prepared for Monday. As long as everything goes okay with my body, Monday we should have a lot of good stimulus videos, and I have money for you guys. We found some money, and I will be filling out that today. So take care, blessings. Mwah. I'll see you guys soon. Bye.